The term blow off some steam comes from the early days of the railroads, when steam-powered engines had no safety valves and the conductor would have to pull a lever to let off excess pressure to prevent an explosion. It's interesting how accurate this term is in how we use it today. Normal frustrations we experience every day begin to create a pressure inside us over time. This pressure can build up until almost involuntarily you explode, unless, of course, you've found a way to blow off some steam on a regular basis. And there are countless different ways. For you, it could be working out or cooking, doing yoga, or playing video games. For me, it's a little bit more exciting. Hitting the throttle on a 200 horsepower side-by-side and getting it fully sideways at 60 miles an hour requires laser-guided focus. You can't be distracted or thinking about anything other than the angle of the steering wheel, throttle inputs, the trail ahead of you, and what lies beyond each corner that's coming up extremely fast. Your mind must be completely clear and unclouded. This is, for me, like pulling that lever and venting off any frustrations or worries that may have been built up in my head. Of course, unlike yoga that just requires a pair of tight pants and a mat, my method of blowing off steam requires much more sophisticated machinery, like this Maverick Max XRS Turbo RR with Smart-Shox. Is this a new side-by-side? No, this is the same Maverick Max XRS we've come to know and love. The difference is that this one includes Can-Am's Smart-Shox active suspension. Does the Smart-Shox system make it feel different? Absolutely. Sometimes technology is just a distraction from our hard-earned moments of peace and happiness. The technology inside Can-Am's Smart-Shox system, though, is the complete opposite. It helps to remove distractions like bumps and body rolls so you can simply focus on driving really, really fast. Fox is supplying the shocks for the system in the form of 2.5 podium internal bypass piggyback units up front and 3.0 podium internal bypass remote reservoir units out back. Before we go any further, it needs to be understood that this isn't exactly the same technology we've seen elsewhere in the industry. There are a few things that set Can-Am's Smart-Shox system apart from its competition. The most noticeable of them all, in my opinion, is the fact that both compression and rebound settings are being constantly adjusted, up to 200 times per second. So what does this mean big picture? Well, if you ask anyone who knows anything about suspension, they'll tell you that while compression is a very important adjustment, if you want the absolute best ride quality, rebound is just as important. 9 sensors are sending data to a computer that decides what adjustments to make based on both the info from the sensors and which of the 3 user-selectable modes has been chosen. The 3 modes are Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, and they do pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Comfort prioritizes a plush ride, and I can honestly say I have never driven a side-by-side that rides as smooth as this one does when Comfort mode is selected. Cruising trails at medium speeds feels like floating on a marshmallow. You can feel the suspension collapse under you as you roll over hills and into valleys. Little bumps, rocks, roots. Simply put, you just don't feel them. What was interesting to note, though, in Comfort mode is that I could actually tell when the rebound was being adjusted. On smaller, sharper hits, the wheels rebounded fast, as you'd expect. But on the bigger rolling bumps and hills, the suspension rebounded very slow, which is what made it feel so pillowy soft. Sport mode gives you a good mix of and compromise between a plush ride, big bump control, and stable handling. If you like to ride fast, this is likely the setting you're going to choose most often. When speeds rose on the fire roads or when terrain got rougher, Sport mode did a great job of insulating the driver and my passengers from big hits, while also keeping the vehicle more level under hard cornering or braking. Rebound in this mode was generally faster. Sport Plus mode gives you maximum stability and big bump control for the most aggressive riding, but it does come at the expense of maximum smoothness. On fast fire roads or washes in the desert, this is the mode you'll want. Compression is definitely higher, which makes for a rougher ride, and rebound is decidedly faster to help keep the wheels in contact with the ground. But these settings are aggressively adjusted when cornering, accelerating, or braking to keep the vehicle almost entirely level at all times. Earlier I mentioned 200 horsepower, but I quickly skimmed over that spec because I wanted to get into talking about Smart-Shox. Now though, I'd like to take a second to ponder just how impressive that number really is. Many people don't know that for a vehicle to be classified as a side-by-side in most areas of North America, it can't have an engine that exceeds 1,000 cc's. Once that number is exceeded, it falls into a different classification with all kinds of different rules and regulations. This is why no one has simply released a 1,200 cc side-by-side. When you consider that the 3-cylinder Ace architecture engine Can-Am is using to power this Maverick only displaces 900 cc's, yet it creates 200 horsepower, that's just mind-boggling. To put it into perspective, the V8 engine found in the new Corvette C8 displaces 6.2 liters and produces 495 horsepower. If you do the math like I did, the Corvette makes 0.07 horsepower per cc. The Maverick, on the other hand, makes 0.22 horsepower per cc. That's over 3 times more. Is it fast? It's almost laughable how fast it actually is. This thing is a Maverick Max. It's big and heavy, yet all that power make it feel light and flickable. Angry doesn't even begin to describe how the power feels when you step on it from a standstill. The power is actually a bit shocking, and you really do have to be careful because you can end up going so much faster than you expected to when it comes time to corner. But this brings me right back to what I said in the beginning. We all need to get out of our own heads from time to time. We need to let go of life's distractions and clear our minds. We need to blow off steam on a regular basis. When I'm behind the wheel of this Maverick Max XRS Turbo RR with Smart-Shox, all that exists is me and the trail. All that matters is the correct application of throttle, brake, and steering, and the only thing I care about is getting perfectly set up for the next corner. My passenger, his heart is likely racing, but mine is calm and steady. He's probably rethinking his priorities in life, but I'm only thinking about what's around the next corner. Smart-Shox allows me to take all of this one step further by offering a dramatic increase in control, so I can push things harder and go faster than ever before. Are there other ways for people to blow off steam? Yeah, for sure there are. Are any of them anywhere near as fun and effective as this one? In my opinion, not a chance.